Hi, in this video we're going to look at how we actually add our remote blogs or our child blogs, in other words the blogs we want to control, into our master control panel. Now we're in our master control panel here and we've got the main control page selected, which is where we do most of our work, and we're going to add some blogs here. When they do, they end up in the library, in the blog library, which we'll list down here as you'll see. But there's a number of different ways we can actually do this. Now I need to go from the main page now to the blog registration management page. This is where we actually manage the registration of the blogs, say to the control panel. And here you will see again, this side where the blogs will be listed. Most of the pages in here you'll see are very similar in layout. So as you go from one page to another, there will be a similar layout, and therefore it should feel familiar to you, make it easier for you to work with. And again, this side has the blogs in it, and the operations happen in the right-hand side of the screen. So anyway, let's just go back to the blog registration management and start looking at that. And there's a number of ways that we can add in our blogs, or two primary ways. And one is to do them individually, and we added this register edit blogs form. And what we've got in here basically is a URL. The name, that's the username that you would normally log into your remote blog with, and its password. Well, we can select a blog group. We'll talk about blog groups in a little while. We can also add what we call basic authentication passwords. This is an extra level of passwords, which I won't go into in this particular video, but there is a video on it specifically that you can see later. So just before I add any blogs, I'm going to create a couple of blog groups. Now, blog groups are a way of grouping your blogs together in some kind of logical fashion that will just make them easy to handle. May not be completely clear at this point, but later on when you see, if you get a lot of blogs, if you've got 100 or 200 blogs in there, that's a lot of blogs to have in one list. You might want to group them into perhaps different customers, or even in alphabetical groups in A to C, or D to F, etc., or in different types of blogs or different niches. It's entirely up to you what's convenient for you, what makes it easy for you to manage your blogs. But to break them down when you've got a lot of blogs into a number of groups makes life a lot easier when you're managing them. So I've got the option to create a blog group here. I'm just going to type in a blog group name. I think I'm going to call this one test blogs. Create that new blog. And as you can see, it tells you on the left-hand side here, new blog group test blogs created. And it also says capability, GP underscore test blogs created. Now this is the ability, or this capability for users. So what we have is, and again, this is covered in a separate video, so I'm not going to go deep into it here, but every time a blog group is created, then also a blog group capability is created. This enables us to have different users or multiple users in your system, but with only access to certain blog groups or certain areas of the program. As I said, it'll be covered in a separate video, so I'm not going to go deeply into that now. But just to understand that when you create a blog group, you also create a blog group capability. So let me just put another one in here. Let's have live blogs this time. And we've created a new blog group called live blogs. And again, the group underscore live blogs capability. And if we look in the blog group list under here, we now see that we have blog groups, live blogs, and test blogs. And we can delete groups from here. In fact, if I just show you that we do that, we can delete the live blog group, and then we're just left with test blogs. Okay, but I'm going to put live one back in for the moment. Great, that's recreated that one. So now we've got two groups. So let's go back to our register or edit the blogs. And I'm going to add a blog URL in here. So I just do the minimum that we need. So let me just paste the URL in here. Just a word on URLs at the moment. The URL you put in here needs to be the actual URL of the blog. So that needs to either include or not include the www, depending on how your blog was set up. Now, different blogs will be set up differently. They'll be set up to redirect from one to the other for normal use, but to be able to access it through here, we need to define specifically whether it's got www in front of it or not. Now, the easiest way to check that, if you actually don't know what it is to simply just copy the top level of the URL. So that's the actual site name dot whatever your extension is. And if I just open a new tab up here and paste that in here, as you see, it doesn't have the www on it at the moment. And if I click return, it will find the home page for me, and it actually gives me the www in front. If it didn't have a www in front, it would not show it. So this basically is the correct format for your URL. So I can paste that in here. Now you notice when I paste it directly from the address bar, it's put the HTTP in there as well. We don't want that. We just want the literal name. And we don't want anything else after it. Actually, it doesn't matter if you've got the /, but it doesn't want anything after it. It doesn't want wp-admin or any login details at all. Literally just the URL. Okay, now we need the name to log into it for, and this is the name that you would normally log into if you did it manually. And in this case, it's that one. And you also need the password, which again is the password that you would type in if you logged in manually. And I'm going to select a blog group here. I'm going to put it into test blogs. And I say we're not going to cover any basic authentication. So this basically is the minimum requirement. You don't have to put it into a group. I'll tell you about that in a moment as well. But the minimum requirement you need is the URL, and the login name and password. And if I just click Add New Blog now, as you see up here, it tells me your site www.anesthesiologistassistant.org has been added, updated to group test blogs. Okay, so that's been registered in there. Now we can't see anything at the moment, so I'm just going to go back to the main control panel just to show you something. And as I said, we haven't got anything showing here because we haven't got any group selected. Now this group that we put it in, we can choose the groups up here. Now, if I put it in the particular, well, let's just have a look at the groups for a start. So it's the set display group, and I'm going to select down here, and you will see that we have both the test blogs and the live blogs that we actually entered. We've also got two others called all and default. So if I select all, then obviously I should be able to see all the blogs I've got registered. I've only got one in at the moment, but there it is. If I select the live blogs, then I can't see it because it's not in that group. If I select the test blogs and display it, now I can see it because it's actually the test blogs group. So you can see my selection options are the actual group it's in, which will give me just the group, or I select all and then I can see everything. There is another option which is called default, and this is basically anything that isn't set into a group. So it effectively creates a group called default and adds anybody that isn't in a group to that default group. So let's just go back to our blog registration page. And you'll see that we could enter our blogs in there one at a time, no problem at all. That would be an easy way to do it. But we can make life easier for ourselves if we have a lot of blogs. We can actually upload blogs in a batch. So in other words, we can put a CSV file in here, a comma-separated file, and upload everything all in one go. And you can load as many blogs as you like, and you're literally hundreds all in one go. Now, there's various formats that you can use, but they're all fundamentally the same format. So what you can do, you can add a list that looks like this. It'll be in this kind of format. It'll be yoursite.com followed by a comma. It'll be your login name followed by a comma. Be your password followed by a comma. And then it'll be your group name, the group you want to add it to. That group doesn't have to exist, by the way. It'll be created automatically. And then, of course, you can add in the basic auth username and the comma and the auth password if you want them or if you need them. Now, what you do need to do is to actually put the commas in. So if you don't have any of these entries in, in other words, you don't have a group or an auth password, then you simply just put the commas in still, and that's the format that it needs to be. And I have one here already that I have in Notepad. I'm just going to copy that one, and I'm going to paste the entire file into this box. As you can see, it's got a kind of format there to what as I explained above. And we simply click the Add Batch blogs, and you'll see just how quickly this loads up now. If I scroll down, you will see it lists all the blogs that it's added. So shooting gloves has been added, curtain for French doors has been added, and each time it comes across a new blog group, it will create a new blog group and a capability and tell you that. So I say it will create the blog groups automatically for you if they don't exist. And this shows you how quickly you can get that in. If I just refresh the page now, okay, I haven't got those in the test blog, so I've just refreshed the page. So let me just select the group all. And now we should see all the blogs are in there. Okay, one final thing for this video is that we can actually edit these. So if you want to edit any of these, we have this edit blog credentials option up here, and we can select any. So let's just take this top one, there's an anesthesiologist assistant again, and we can just do it. And what it will do, it will refill in this register edit blogs over here on the right hand side, and you'll now see it's got a red message at the top saying it's now an edit form, and it says edit existing blog rather than add blog on the button. So the details are already in there, and because I actually overwrote it when I put that batch in, so I took it out of the blog group, the live blog group. I'm actually going to, well, the test blog group it was, I'm going to put it in the live blog group now. So this is another way you can actually just change blog groups if you want. If I then edit the existing blog, then we can still see that there. But if I go to the live blogs and select it, you'll now see we've just got the one blog in that particular group. And again, what I said about groups, if I go and look at the default group, this will be all the blogs that weren't given a group, which in this particular case is most of them. And if we look down, we should find some in perhaps group 10. There's a couple of blogs in there. So you can see how quickly and easy it is to add blogs to the actual system. And one other thing actually before I go is how you can export and save your blogs. Now I told you that I had this CSV file, and the reason I had a CSV file in fact was I exported it from another site. And what you can do, there's a simple button down here, it just says export all, and if I click that button, it will take all the blogs I've got in there, no matter how I entered them, and it will list them back in this batch blog again, in this batch box again. And this time you can see I've got all those, and this is a useful way of saving these off. So now I've got the entire contents basically of my master blog, my master control panel, and if I copy that and simply add it into or paste it into Notepad or some other text editor, I've then got myself a safe file that I can keep off. Obviously, you've got to keep that in a safe place because that is all your login credentials for all your blogs. But it gives you a master file that you can do it. And also, you can edit outside. So if you wanted to suddenly do some mass change on here, say you went to change all the passwords in your blogs for some reason, and you wanted to change them in here again, you could bring them outside into the text file, and you could edit the text file possibly easier. Supposing you wanted to add them all into a particular group or change a group from, say I had 10 there, I want to change that, put them all into the WPP group, then I can simply do an edit, replace, put 10 in there, put WPT in there. I can replace all. And now I can simply delete everything in here, replace it with my edited version. And now if I add the batch blogs, Check down, we should see that it's created this WPT group. So let me just refresh this page again. And let's go and look for the WPT group. Select that group. And now you'll see that what were in group 10 are now in the WPT group. So if I just go to all again now and select all, I'll get a full list of my blogs all back again. Okay, that just about covers everything in blog registration. I'll catch you in the next video.